Hello and welcome to a new video here on the second channel. This is going to be my last video of 2025 here on the second channel, but also on the first channel. We just came back from Bonaire, the Caribbean, and we have some really interesting videos coming for you guys for the first channel. But today we wanted to look back at my 2025 together with Insta360. We came up with this concept to kind of show you my year through the eyes of my camera, through the lens, and we're starting straight away with January because we have been to Puerto Rico. First time in Puerto Rico, the first trip of 2025. Big shout out to Jose, what a legend, for showing us around. It's been an absolute blast. Obviously you've seen the videos on the first channel where we went windsurfing on this lost island just outside of Puerto Rico. We went there by boat, had an absolute cracker of a session. It was super nice. Took the Insta360 with me. We kind of started experimenting with the mount in front of the boom with this extension stick. This is really where it kind of came more to life. We tried it before, but there we really made good use of it. And obviously then also went windsurfing from the mainland of Puerto Rico to this lost island, where again I took you guys with me with my Ace Pro, which is kind of the normal action cam from Insta360, not a 360 view, but just this linear view. And I used it to vlog my little adventure over to the small island. Took you guys with me on that camera, and then of course we also went on to the fishing boat, which took us to the wave spot, and over there I took you guys with me on my head to kind of show you what it looks like inside this wave. And overall this Puerto Rico trip was so cool. Unfortunately, not a lot of windsurfers over there, no windsurf centers. If you ever consider going by yourself to Puerto Rico, you have to take your own gear and have to kind of connect with the few locals that there are. But it was a beautiful island, it was windy, it was wavy, good and fun people. So definitely an epic trip to kick off the year. And transition into February, because February, quite unusual for me, started in Germany. So I spent the whole February in Germany, kind of waiting for my new Pride Sails and JP Australia boards. Normally in February I would already been training somewhere in the south, but had been figuring some things out with Near Pride and JP, and then also worked on other projects like Surf Center Experience website. A lot of work and hours went into that as well. Going to the gym in the meantime, had some really cold sessions on the Baltic Sea, and took you guys with me again. We made a video on the first channel about one of those sessions, about how windsurfing keeps you going and keeps you motivated to go out even in those kind of ugly conditions. But I grew up here, so I'm kind of used to it. And of course the Insta360 was on board for this stormy day on the Baltic Sea. I think I was on a 5.6 and the small board 30 knots, but I tell you guys, 30 knots in close to 0 degrees with a hood on, with a thick wetsuit, is not like 30 knots on Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. It is not the same. So in March it was finally time to go to Tenerife and start my winter training. I took you guys along when I received my new foil board, which kind of looked a bit like a spaceship, like a rocket ship. And I documented that whole journey with the Insta360, made a whole vlog about that. Had quite some crashes, but also some good sessions. Got used to the board. We didn't have a lot of wind this winter in Tenerife, and a lot of offshore wind too, which is quite unusual. It's more common in winter, of course, than in summer, but the amount of days we had was a bit unusual. Obviously had a few slalom sessions as well on my slalom board. Got the new Near Pride sails, which I showed you on the first channel when I tried them out for the first time. And then of course we had the NP7 experience in Tenerife, had a couple of guys over, coached them. Again, we had offshore wind, we also had onshore wind. The guys kind of got the hang of windsurfing in waves, which again is quite different from flat water. And it takes a bit of courage and also experience to learn to windsurf in waves and learn to be comfortable in waves, and I think we achieved that quite well in the MP7 experience in Tenerife this year. April started in Tenerife. I left Tenerife on 10th of April and then had a short stopover at home, and that's when the Insta360 X5 came out, and Lars and I, we filmed a little review about the camera. We had it on the main channel. We compared it kind of to the old camera, also explained why we prefer the Insta360 over the GoPro. And that was obviously in cold, dark Germany. The camera performed still quite well in those low lights. And that's also when I sailed with my broken toe, because in Tenerife I broke one of my toes. So in that footage you actually see that I'm mostly not using one of the foot straps, because I really wanted to take care not to hit my toe again on the foot straps before I was gonna travel to the World Cup in Guadeloupe, which is what was up next. So I took the chance. I went to Guadeloupe with kind of a broken toe. I adjusted my foot straps in a special way. I kind of cut away the plastic inside the foot strap to make it a bit softer in case I hit it. I mounted it as far inside as I possibly could to make sure I don't hit my toe again. Obviously competed. All the videos are on the first channel about the World Cup in Guadeloupe. But then we also had a couple of days afterwards in Guadeloupe, and then I took out the Insta360 again, and we had quite a cool shot of a FPV drone following me from behind. You can actually see it on the footage. That looks super cool, and over in Guadeloupe you can really see how good the colors look when you actually have nice blue water and a bit of sun. Although that day was not that sunny, but I still think those shots look amazing, and it was a fun session after the World Cup. And by the way, if you want to get your own Insta360 to document your sessions, we have an affiliate link. So if you want to get yourself one, be sure to use that. May started with a road trip down the Spanish coast with final destination of Tarifa, which is where I wanted to train for the DeFi Wind. DeFi Wind being the biggest windsurf race in the world and known for strong winds, so they don't really start below 20 knots, often going up to 30 or even 40 knots. So I wanted to train for strong wind, but Tarifa didn't deliver any strong wind, so I ended up with a couple of sessions on my big slalom board. I had one session on my medium slalom board as well. We didn't show you any of that here on the second or first channel, but I still had the camera with me and recorded those sessions over in Tarifa. Fun little training, nice to take the camera with me to have it here as a memory as well. And from there it was already time to head towards France for the DeFi. We had a short stopover at the MP7 Fins factory, and we showed you guys around, also to be seen on the first channel. And we then had this epic session in Le Cat with a lot of wind, high jumps in quite flat water, choppy but not too wavy, where we also compared the slalom board against the freeride board. We also took out the freshly made MP7 fins, and that was an epic session where you can see on the Insta360 how it looks like from inside when you're kind of jumping 4 or 5 meters above the water, which was quite the cool session, quite the cool scenery to be there, and to also sail a different spot than just Grisson, which is the spot where the DeFi Wind happened. And that's where we went next. For the DeFi Wind we also had the Surf Center DeFi Wind Experience, where we coached 70 guys from all around the world, and we kind of organized the whole experience for them with 6 coaches. We had Jordi Wong, we had Blanca Alaba, we had Antoine Albo, Twan Verseput, Femke van der Veen and myself as coaches. And we didn't have any official races once again this year for the DeFi Wind, which was kind of a bummer because it has happened before, the year before, and we're hoping that next year it's gonna be better and we finally get the official DeFi Wind race. But what we did have was a practice race. So the day before the competition started, it was still windy, and they organized a practice race which I recorded with the Insta360 on my helmet, on the helmet camera, and that's still quite cool to see, and it gives you a feeling of how it feels to be starting behind the rabbit boat and have all those people around you. But obviously that's only a few hundred people. When it gets to the real race with more than 1,000 people, it's a whole different story. Here we are, beginning of June, cruising over to Lake Garda straight from the DeFi Wind for the NP7 experience in Lake Garda. The first time we did the experience in Lake Garda, and it was absolutely amazing because we stayed in a hotel. We arranged the Hotel Paradiso as a partner for the experience right next to the spot. In fact, this hotel has kind of its own entry into the water, so it was a super nice vibe. We stored the gear at the hotel, we rigged the sails, and jumped over the street 10 meters and we were in the water. Had again a couple of guys from all over the world there. Really nice experience. One guy cut his leg on the fin. Marvin, shout out to you. And then Helge, who actually was a surgeon, stitched up the wound right there on the spot, and he went straight back on the water. So that was a really fun trip and a fun experience. And of course we had the Insta360 there with us again, but not only for us but also for the participants, because we actually started giving out the cameras to try for free to all the participants, so they can also record their own footage and see what it's like. So we don't only have footage of myself riding again with a big board on Lake Garda, but also of all the participants of the experience. Once again, short stopover at home, and then it was already time to go to the Canary Islands to train for the Slalom X World Cups. The end of June was not that windy, so we had to kind of wait a bit to get the right sessions to prepare and train. But from July on, it started getting really windy, and we had some proper training and tuning sessions with up to 40 knots, massive waves. We had some nice training sessions with the sausage, so Matteo Iacchino was there, Maciej Rutkowski joined, and we kind of jumped over the self-made sausage, we jibed around it, and we really toughened up in those conditions and got ourselves ready for the World Cup in Fuerteventura, which happened end of July. So we made our way over there. Usually we go a week early to kind of get accustomed to the conditions, because the job in Fuerteventura is very specific and different to any other spot in the world. So you want to go a bit early, get used to the conditions. That's what we did, and the World Cup started. I don't really want to use a big camera on my gear or on myself during the races to not have any disadvantage against the others. But what we did have was my self-made Insta360 Go. That's that tiny camera, weighs about 25 grams, helmet mount. So the camera integrated into the helmet. We made that ourselves, and with that we got some epic onboard POV footage of the races in Fuerteventura. Then in August, back to Tenerife for the next Slalom X World Cup. We didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that, and also not a lot of wind. In fact, even the competition itself wasn't that windy. Quite unusual for the Canaries in summer, but that's how our sport goes. We had 3 races in pretty light wind, where we raced the biggest gear that we registered is 7.4, and the 119 liter boards. That's the biggest gear we registered for this season, and of course we recorded everything with the Insta360 Go setup in the helmet. Once again, short stop over at home before I headed to Turkey, not only for the NP7 experience but also for the IFGA Slalom World Championships, where I really wanted to go for the title on the fin, but unfortunately we did not have any wind for official competitions, which was a real bummer. I still had a couple of sessions by myself, which sometimes the wind can be enough for sessions by going by your own, but not enough for competitions. When you go with 8 to 10 guys together in the jibe, kind of kills the wind. But a couple of light wind sessions by myself, through a couple of duck jibes with a big gear, which we obviously can see here on the Insta360 footage. And then straight into the NP7 experience in Alachate, where we didn't only record footage of myself, but once again also the participants used the camera to kind of track their progress and take their own amazing footage. And another highlight at the end of August was obviously our limbo session, where I mounted the camera on top of the pole so we can see from a helicopter view how it looks like when I lay down the sail under the rope, and as well the fast tag video. You guys probably seen it on the first channel, where I attempt to make a fully planing tag, which I kind of did in the end, but it's good to have the camera right there and tracking the whole progress in case the camera on land fails. You have that one tag on camera. Back home in September, and from there I went to the Waters Festival in Denmark for competing. I gave a little clinic, super nice event in Videsande, which is in southwest Denmark, only a 3-hour drive for myself from Germany. And we stayed in Scandinavia afterwards because we made our first trip to Sweden, and you guys probably saw the video here on this channel. I cut my foot pretty severely, and that was actually 10 days before the World Cup on Sylt. So I had 10 days of healing time to get ready for the next competition, a foil competition, which is where I went pretty much without any preparation on the foil due to that injury. We have those videos from the World Cup on Sylt on the main channel, so we documented that. Not a very successful World Cup for me, but I made it just in time. The toe healed really well. And after that World Cup, we went back to Sweden, because when we went the first time, the people over there were so nice. We had such a good time, so we decided to go back for a little short NP7 experience. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coaching 10 guys near Malmö in the south of Sweden. And we of course had the Insta360 camera with us in this nice little spot, which is kind of a secured bay, blocked off by a sandbank. It blocks the waves and you have flat water and you can pretty much stand everywhere. The day we came back from Sweden, we made our way to Lake Garda for the IFCA European Championships on the foil and on the fin. Lars made his debut on the foil and I competed both on the foil and the fin. On the fin, it was quite a successful competition for me because I finished on the podium. I finished in third and the conditions there have been so fun. Finally competing again on the big board on the A2, kind of flying over the chop. Was a really fun competition. Nice competitors with Jordi, with Tati, with Bruno. Was a good fight. And then spontaneously we got what I think was maybe the most epic trip of the year, because when we headed back from Lake Garda, we saw an epic storm forecast for the Netherlands. So we did a little detour via the Netherlands and we just caught the storm. We just arrived in time to catch the 50 knot storm in the south of Netherlands. We drove around a bit in the Netherlands as well to cover different spots, but obviously there we took some insane footage from the middle of the action with the Insta360 camera, always on board in the heavy storm. Then of course we had the channel session where we kind of windsurfed alongside the cars in the middle of Netherlands in one of those famous Dutch channels. And then it was time to go back home and recharge the batteries a little bit for November. It started off with Japan, where I normally go only for the foil World Cup, the last World Cup of the year. But when I checked the forecast, I saw that a little bit further south it was gonna get quite windy, but only on the very first day of my arrival. So I gave it a shot. I tried to make it down there for the windy day, and I arranged myself a train trip which took about 3 hours right after arrival. I arranged myself equipment from a Japanese friend over there, so I made it just in time to catch a little bit of the wind, because the day after the wind already died and the trip was quite hectic. But fun at the same time, with the jet lag, completely tired from the plane trip, straight onto the train, and trying to catch all the right trains, which is also a mission over there in Tokyo, and making it for an epic slalom session, epic wave session in the sunset, beautiful setting, nice people, and of course the Insta360 was on board on the tail end of the boom, which is kind of the safest position for the Insta360 in strong conditions, in waves, in strong wind. When you have the heavy duty mount at the tail end of the boom, that's really where it bothers you the least and where it sits the safest. But that's actually where the November just started, because straight from Japan we went to Egypt, where we had a little collaboration, and we didn't only go windsurfing. My personal highlights was the e-foiling session over the beautiful waters of Egypt, and then the motocross and quad session where we had the Insta360 with us as well. So always fun to document all these different things we're doing. And then of course we also had an epic windsurfing session in Soma Bay, which you also saw on the first channel. So 5 days of all sorts of activities, finishing off strong with a nice windsurf session with Insta360 on the pole following along. And then it was already time for the last trip of the year, December in Bonaire. 3 weeks and I have been on the water every single day. The wind has been so consistent, it never really gets super strong there, but we've had between 15 and 20 knots for every day for 3 weeks, and that made first of all for some epic content, because we filmed some videos there for the first channel, which you will see online very soon of course. And then of course we had 2 weeks of NP7 experience, where we had 25 people once again from all over the world, and we tried to give them a really good time on the water and off the water. That's what it's all about learning on the water, about enjoying the windsurfing lifestyle. You have to imagine you wake up every single day and you don't think about whether it's going to be sunny or windy. That's a kind of a given. So that really is the windsurf lifestyle. You come to the beach, we do a bit of coaching, we have lunch together, we have some beers together, and the people really enjoyed it. Also, once again, use the Insta360 cameras which we handed out there to track their progress, to use it for the video analysis, and we use the Insta360 camera to film a tutorial so you can really see yourself and what you're doing. We used it to show how I place my feet when I get planing for a how to get planing tutorial, and then I also took the camera and kind of clamped it into the platform out in Bonaire. There's a wooden platform, and filmed myself kind of from the outside, so not the camera attached to myself, and then I just blasted past the camera to get some really nice follow shots, which you can easily do with the camera because it kind of follows you and looks wherever you want it to look. And that's it already for 2025. There were some smaller trips in between where I didn't take the camera, but on all bigger trips it's always there to document the journey. If you want to get yourself one of those, please be sure to use our affiliate link. Big thanks to Insta360 for supporting us throughout the year and allowing us to make these videos and take you guys along, give you this entertainment and also useful content to improve your windsurfing. And I hope I see you again next year, both here on the second channel and on the first channel. Have a good start into the year.